Note-taking and writing tips to avoid accidental plagiarism.
In this video, we will show you 2 note-taking techniques and 5 writing tips to help you avoid accidental plagiarism.
When reading, it is important to develop a consistent note-taking system because 1. It helps you to keep organized, and 2. When you take good notes of an article, you won't have to reread the entire article again to write about it in your literature review.
Here are 2 strategies for note-taking.
One strategy is a single source sheet, which is a good format to use for detailed note-taking. This single source sheet contains 12 boxes to help you capture different information about each paper you read.
These boxes are 1. Source information with author, title, and citation. 2. Purpose of the article or study. 3. Keywords and/or key search terms. 4. Broad topic area and/or themes discussed. 5. Main argument and/or research questions. 6. Methods used and/or theoretical perspectives. 7. Key findings and/or contributions. 8. Strengths of the article or study. 9. Limitations of the article or study. 10. Relevance to my research project. 11. A 1-paragraph summary. And 12. Other related articles or studies.
The second strategy is a multiple source sheet. This table format includes columns for each of the same categories listed in the single source sheet, excluding the 1-paragraph summary and other related articles. This table format allows you to enter all of this information from one article into each row, making it easier to visually compare studies. We have linked templates for these tools in the description box below.
Customize these templates to collect the information that is most important to you.
This image of a single source note-taking analysis sheet shows each box filled in with information recorded from an article. This example analysis sheet can be viewed or downloaded from the description box below. This note-taker has customized the analysis sheet because they want to capture more detail in the methods box. So they added 3 subsections relevant to their research. One subsection describes the participant's characteristics, 1 explains the intervention, and 1 details the various measurements taken in the study.
Another important box in this worksheet is the 1-paragraph summary. You can use this box in multiple ways. This image here shows an example of a paragraph summary that provides the reader with a snapshot of the article. Another way to use this box is as a space to reflect on how this article relates to your research. If you write this paragraph with your research focus in mind, you might be able to insert it directly into your literature review.
Here is an example of a multiple source worksheet that has been customized. This customized example can also be viewed or downloaded from the description box below. This note-taker added in columns to capture specific information about the research design, sample, intervention goals and length, vegetable intake, and blood pressure. With these customized columns, the note-taker can more easily compare studies. For example, if we look at the intervention length column, we can easily see that these 2 studies both have 12-week interventions.
When you are reading, try taking brief notes in your own words and using symbols to indicate patterns, effects, and changes.
Put the original source out of sight before writing notes in your own words.
Never copy and paste text from a source into your notes unless you enclose the original wording in quotation marks and include reference information with the author, year, and page numbers. If you don't keep track of what is a direct quote and what is your own writing, you may end up pasting quotations from your notes into your final paper. This is a common cause of accidental plagiarism. Next, let's talk about 5 tips for avoiding accidental plagiarism when writing and revising your literature review. Tip number 1. Minimize the use of quotations. Use your own language in most of the paper and paraphrase instead of relying on quotations. But even when paraphrasing, remember you still have to cite your sources. When students use too many quotations, it suggests that they may not understand what they have read. In this 3-sentence example, this student has used 3 quotations in a row and very few of their own words. This is too many quotations, and this paragraph doesn't show whether the student understands the topic.
Only use quotations when it is important to preserve an author's original wording. In this example, Charles Darwin's thoughts about natural selection are important to keep in his own words.
In scientific writing, quotations are uncommon and usually limited to definitions and discussion of qualitative research.
Tip number 2, develop your paraphrasing skills.
Ensure you haven't used more than 3 words in a row that are the same as those used in your source. The following example will show you the difference between a poor paraphrase and a good paraphrase. The original sentence from an article reads, "In Alberta, over 50% of youth in the current study were considered inactive." An example of a poor paraphrase is, "More than 50% of youth in the current study were seen as physically inactive." This paraphrase is poor because only a couple of words have been changed to synonyms. The sentence structure is the same as the original, and there are more than 3 words in a row from the original source. Here is an example of a better paraphrase. A study of Alberta youth showed that over half of all study participants were inactive. This paraphrase is good because it revises the sentence structure and wording without changing the meaning.
However, using common phrases, names, or established terminology is not considered plagiarism.
Poor paraphrasing is especially likely if students don't have a good understanding of what they are reading or when students are new to paraphrasing. This student isn't sure how to put the information they have read into their own words.
For help with paraphrasing, check out the links to the library resources in the description box below.
You can also put your paper through plagiarism detection software, such as Turnitin, if available, to help you detect any accidental plagiarism.
Tip number 3, don't rely too heavily on a single source.
You are more likely to plagiarize if your work is dependent on a single source. This student doesn't know how to add their own analysis or thoughts about the topic to their paper because they feel like the author has said everything.
Tip number 4, save your notes and rough drafts.
That way, you'll be able to go back and check where your ideas, phrases, and quotations came from.
Tip number 5, cite as you write.
Don't tell yourself that you'll cite your sources later. It's too easy to forget.
Need more help? Make an appointment with Writing Services at the University of Guelph Library. Visit lib.uoguelph.ca.